sure where this is going to go. I have an idea in mind. I have some thoughts that have been rolling around my head. And I'm not sure whether this will make the cut for being posted or if this will be saved for future use. All depends on how it actually evolves and comes out. So this is all political in nature. Actually, I would say more the dynamics of leadership and how that relates to politics. So as I was driving to this last property, and I was kind of stewing about some of the articles that I read this morning, reading the news, which gets me fired up. And it's the ignorance out there. And I've talked about this at length in my recordings. It's extremely frustrating to me, extremely aggravating to me. I am naturally a very passionate individual, which means that I tend to experience anger and rage more frequently and very rapidly. And I've really separated myself, tried to anyway, from current events. I want to know what's going on. Ever since the election, ever since the inauguration, I still want to know what's going on, still want to be aware, but I've really tried to avoid the commentary because it is insane. The contrast to the sides and the ignorance on both sides. And I was thinking about it this morning because I actually broke down and there was an article that I read, and I was actually really curious to which side of idiots were going to have the most to say about it. And that's what it boils down to, because most of these people are fucking stupid. I mean, I feel anger bubbling up inside at the ignorance that I see demonstrated, and it's the ones that are the most ignorant that are the most vocal about it. And unfortunately, I work with a couple of these people, so I'm exposed to it on a daily basis. As much as I tried to wall that off and separate myself, keep myself out of that line of conversation, I just don't want to be. At this point right now in my life, I'm focused on the book. I'm focused on this transition of careers, and at some point I'm going to have to make a public stance, and I don't know that this will be it, but I really felt like I needed to get this out because it started to affect me. I'm starting to really feel negative side effects from this ongoing hostility. And again, I'm not picking sides. I think there's idiots on both sides, and they're both jumping and screaming and shouting to be heard. And unfortunately, they're being heard. The bad thing is they're being inspired by a leader that is fostering that hostility. I honestly, I don't have one good thing to say about our new president. Trump is, I know how he got where he is. I understand the dynamic of it. I understand how he manipulated his way to where he's at. But I don't think it's for the greater good. As a matter of fact, I think it's detrimental to our population as individuals to really allow this to continue. So I keep waiting for a voice of reason to step up and try to buffer that conflict. And I keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and I'm not seeing it. I'm not hearing it. I'm seeing individuals that may set off on a noble attempt to bridge that gap, quiet that conflict, and they're getting sucked into it almost immediately, and the whole purpose is defeated. I mean, they just become part of the problem. And I keep telling myself that I probably could be that voice of reason, but I don't want to be that voice of reason. I don't want that responsibility. But at some point, in the scheme of evolution and moving forward, if you have the ability to inspire change, if you have the opportunity to inspire change, you really are obligated to inspire that change. And it's a cross that I don't want to bear right now. I mean, that is the direction I'm heading. It's where I would eventually like to be. I just don't feel that I'm ready. I have doubt that my strength will not be adequate to prohibit me from getting sucked into that mess. And again, I'm a fighter. That's what I do. I've always been drawn to and thrived on conflict. And there's a certain part of me that actually is kind of just enjoying seeing everybody go at it. I mean, there's that sick dark side that really embraces that and is like, let it go, let the whole thing get ripped apart, and let's see where we are after that. But my cooler, calmer side, the more rational side, is balancing that out. And I just keep thinking about what my concept of a leader is, and Trump is not even vaguely qualified, or definitely hasn't shown any aptitude for being that figurehead, that leader. He is hell-bent on upsetting the system, which to a certain extent is good, because the system does need to be upset. This isn't the way. That's the best way to word that. All right, so I've said this before through the process of the elections and after the results came out. I do believe that the system needs to be shaken up. I do believe it is a messed up, twisted wreck of an organization, that it needs a shakeup, but it has to be done with finesse. I guess it doesn't have to be. It could be done exactly in this route and in this way, and it can be just continue to be a powder keg that's being allowed to build, and eventually it's going to blow and it's going to destroy everything in its path. And I just don't see that as being optimal. I just don't see that as being the best way for this to happen. And somebody needs either one to inspire our new leader, to inspire others, to get him to chuck his huge ego and his shock jock approach, which I gotta be honest, when I was younger, that is exactly how I thought I would change the world. I thought it was going to be in the exact same manner that he is going now. But with age comes wisdom, and I've seen that is not the most beneficial way to approach this. There is a way that can be just as effective without the same possibility of destruction. So a leader doesn't need to eliminate difference of opinion. There's always going to be opposing forces. I truly believe that. I believe that this reality was built on that. I've spoken about it before, and I still believe it today, that there's a duality. There's no other way to. There's going to be one side or the other, at least. There's always going to be some type of balance. And the simplest version of that would be opposing forces, individual opposing forces, the yin and yang concept, the picture of the yin and yang, where they're equally balanced and just one pushing the other. And I think that was a beautiful aspect of this reality. I think that is part of the beauty of the design. And even though we sometimes rebel against that, I still think that is, in essence, one of the most beautiful aspects of this reality. So, but something for another time. So, where I see things going wrong is it's a constant stimulation of both sides. And when you have that much anger, that much frustration, that much rage generating equally on both sides, it's more difficult for the parameters of this reality to contain that. I think we're pushing that critical limit. I don't have any desire, or intention of removing or eliminating conflict in the world. I think it's one of the beautiful aspects of it. I embrace that. I love that part of this reality. But there's a certain natural order to that I think is self-contained. I think there's fluctuations in individuals, in nature, that allows for a certain amount of conflict, a certain amount of opposing force to be going on at any given point in any given location. But if you've got every single consciousness on the planet hell-bent on seeking out their opposing thought, anybody that is the opposite, and then trying to instigate or initiate some form of combat or conflict, it's too much. I think it's too much for this system. I don't think it was designed to accommodate that level of conflict. I mean, it should come, it should go, but it shouldn't be the core essence of your being, and you shouldn't be locked into and focused on that every waking minute. And that's where I see this going. I see this building. And again, it's going to eventually, continuing on this path, reach critical mass. And I just don't see much hope for the survival of our species or this planet if we continue down this path. So there needs to be a voice. There needs to be a voice of reason. There needs to be more than one that can validate the feelings that we all feel, can validate the essence of conflict without motivating it, without inspiring it, without manifesting it. There needs to be that sense that it is alright to feel that way. It is alright to embrace your anger. It is alright to embrace conflict to a certain extent. But that should not be the core of your existence. And right now that's what I'm seeing develop. I'm seeing individuals that are just angry every day, all day. And they're locked into a philosophy, a mindset that they can relate to, that they can connect with. And there's a certain satisfaction in making that connection with others, in building that conflict, and then presenting that, putting that up against that opposing side. But then you basically negate the rest of existence. That's all that you have. And it's, to me, fundamentally wrong. It completely eliminates the rest of the opportunity, the rest of the beauty that this reality has. And I don't know. I don't know what to do about it, because to me, I see it, and I see it happening, and I mean, I see it not only in the actions of individuals I encounter, but I see it on a grand scale in imagery, even when I close my eyes. And again, if you have the capacity to identify that, and you have the capability to alter or affect that, I feel like you're obligated to do so. And how far do I take that? And if you do engage in that role, take that on, that responsibility, can you survive that task? That is a huge force to try to govern, to try to manipulate, to try to have any kind of impact on. So where do I go? So this went more from what I thought was going to be a philosophical, intellectual commentary on the nature of humanity, to me whining about how it affects me personally, which it's definitely not the route that I wanted to go. But like I said at the beginning, I didn't know where it was going to go, and everything that was stimulating that urge to push record has faded away. My speech that I had developed in my head about the opposing forces in this country and planet-wide ended up on the back burner. So I don't know if that will come back out and I'll be able to go that route, but I'm at my intended destination, and need to take care of what I came here to do. So I guess that's it.